Hey everybody, Beyond Your TV here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Planet Zoo. That feels weird to say, but it's actually here. It's finally here. A lot of us have been waiting quite a while. Some of us have been waiting several years. But yeah, finally have another zoo simulation game. This one specifically from Frontier Development, who have recently made Planet Coaster and other titles. But this is Planet Zoo, the continuation of the Planet series. And yeah, we're going to be going through Planet Zoo a heck ton on this channel. So if this is your first time hanging out with us, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're all about Planet Zoo. And if you like Planet Coaster and anything Planet series, definitely hang around and hang out with us there. So in this first episode here, we're going to be checking out the scenario mode. There's a heck ton to check out overall with the beta here and the limited 2 weeks that we have for it. And for this series, like I said, we're going to go ahead and check out the scenario mode. For those of you not familiar with the two different modes that we have here to play with, the top one here is scenario mode, which is going to be kind of like a career mode, a little bit of a tutorial mode as far as I can tell so far. And then underneath here we have franchise mode, which is basically here's a flat blank map. Maybe it's not always flat. We have a flat one in the beta though, with a specific biome, and then go build, have fun, do what you do, make money, don't make money, all that fun stuff. So there's those two things. But yeah, again, in this series we're gonna go ahead and do the scenario. As you see here, I've already gotten the bronze star, and that was literally by just loading it up for 2 seconds to make sure that it was running well on my computer, and just make sure it kind of felt like Planet Coaster or the Planet series should feel. And in that process, I got the bronze star. Like I said, the first few objectives are pretty much a tutorial mode, but we will go through them nonetheless for those of you that have not seen any Planet Zoo or just curious what it's all about. So let's go ahead and stop jabbering and start anew here as we play the Planet Zoo scenario mode. So yeah, again, hopefully those of you that are new here, you know, hopefully hang out with us a lot. Like I said, we're going to be doing the scenario mode here. We're also going to be doing another mode with the franchise mode and building our own zoo. I did start our own zoo in Planet Coaster called Green Hills Zoo. I didn't quite finish it because it was hard to build a zoo in a coaster game, but I'll shut up. Shh, listen.
Ah, heyo at Hematu. Yeah, oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bertie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be, too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Okay, there's your nice little introduction there. And I did realize halfway through them jabbering, that my new puppy Murphy off to my right, he's in a crate next to me as I'm recording this. He's chewing on a bone, so you might hear him chew on his bone every once in a while or rustle around. That's just an IRL animal just hanging out, so no worries there. But anyways, yeah, that's our nice little introduction there to the scenario here. And I did want to note that it doesn't show up here because I've already been through this first part here. But if this is your first time playing through, I believe this little tutorial screen will come up there teaching you kind of how to fly around the park and, you know, your different controls. I can't stress this enough that is very, very, very important to look at and kind of get familiar with whenever that comes up, or just on your own free time to definitely get familiar with the controls. Any Planet Coaster player will tell you that the game becomes much easier and much better to kind of get the feel for everything and do what you have envisioned in your head if you can use the controls better at your leisure. So again, don't just dismiss the little tutorial that comes up there. I'm not going to have them up because for the most part, Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo have a lot of things feel the exact same as far as camera controls and basic layouts of the controls and stuff. So if this is your first time playing a Planet series game, definitely don't pass up on these tutorials. It will help you a lot. So with that being said, let's go ahead and fly on over to our Grizzly Bear exhibit, which is very nicely having blue lights emit out of it so that we know exactly where it is. Oops. Stop. Here we go. So found it.
Did you know that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too.
Word.
Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
I got my fancy. I'm glad they still have fancy camera mode. Oops, see, the camera kind of gets kind of finicky. You definitely have to get used to the camera. Definitely have to get used to the camera.
This is where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel?
That's a nice bear.
See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
He's going night-night. Night-night.
Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
I love how he's just sitting right there. Hold on. Let me take a quick picture. By the way, to get that view, if you don't know, it is Control-Shift-G at the same time. And then F12 takes pictures. For Steam, that is. You can take in-game screenshots any way you'd like to. But anyways, let's pop over to the, excuse me, the West African lion exhibit. I'm going to kind of come down here a little bit, get a guest views we're coming in, right? I love how things are looking here. Just, a lot more just gritty, and I love the lighting. I don't know, it just looks a lot better. Looks a lot better!
Anthera Leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the
Did you hear him?
And there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to our warthog habitat and see what needs doing there.
Oh, look at this little kitty. I can't leave this little kitty. Okay, let's leave the little kitty. I know a lot of you are going to be upset right now, but we have to continue on. We're not here just to play with kitties. We have a whole zoo to run.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for warthogs, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. The warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Okay. It's only $81.25 to get a warthog? Oh, sign me up. Send to zoo.
There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo.
Well, that's
Just
easy to
click on
do.
them and select buy from the side menu. Normally the animal
custom
exchange will be full of
seizure.
animals,
Oh, I
but
like how
you
it
can
tells
test them
you.
out while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
I like how it tells you where they come from. Custom seizure. Like it was coming across the border, and they're like, no, 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 you can't just have
When you
a
adopt an animal,
warthog.
it's automatically placed in the trade centre where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their...
Oh, hey, they have the warthog. Look, look, look. Totally have
When you
the...
ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected
Here they
habitat.
come.
I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
There's our war. Oh, he's ready to go. He is stoked on life. Oh, it wants me to go back here, doesn't it? Okay. I'll go back here.
Well, as you can see,
Yeah, that's great.
caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their
There's
destination
the other one right there.
as fast as possible. Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat.
Ooh.
But I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very
Look at
best
'em!
of health.
Oops. Zoom is
Right,
backwards.
let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has
I
an
love the
overall
grunting.
welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which you
Bird.
saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Okay, so it looks like we need to get him some enrichment,
Let's start by
nutrition.
making
Oh wait,
sure
she's
we
gonna
take
tell
care
us.
of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
We'll put it kind of near the fence so when they eat, people will see them. And drop that
Animals
money!
also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
Heck yeah. Are they stoked on life now?
Oh,
Pretty well.
nice
They just need to
work.
be fed,
You've
it
got
looks
a knack
like.
for this, I see.
Oh yeah, they
Now,
really need to be. Where's the
I don't want
zookeeper?
to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a pharaoh state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the
Look,
first
they're gonna
thing
go in the
we
mud
need
bath.
to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
I want to see him go into mud bath. Oh, by the way, just in case people are wondering, I'm playing on high for the graphics setting. So yeah, high. I'm getting around 20 to 30 FPS at the moment. So my rig is okay. It's probably like 2 or 3 years old now. But yeah, pretty sure I've down in the description my actual specs.
Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Attack gate. Okay. Boom.
Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
Okay, so it looks like we can just attach back to this node here. We have straight or curved, and keep it on curved. You can do angle snap. Spacebar works for that. So spacebar is your angle snap here. What that means is that when angle snap is on, see how it kind of clicks a little bit? It's because it's snapping to a 30-degree angle, and you can make this all the way up to 90, so it only goes like that, so you have less control, but it's at an absolute 90-degree angle. And you can go all the way down to that, 15 degrees, and you can hit spacebar, or click on it, you know, whichever is better. I'm all about those hotkeys, though. And then you have free control, free reign over. So we're going to keep the angle snap on. Actually, we're going to keep it off, because it actually turns a little bit sideways. We're going to come all the way up here. We're going to curve it right, start it right there, and curve it there. We'll turn the angle snap on here, have it go straight up this way until it gets... Look at that! Oh, I like that, how it kind of fixes itself there.
Good work.
It's a little bit
Remember,
wibbly
before
dibbly,
you can
but
place animals
that's
in
okay.
any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the guests can see in.
That's cool. Did y'all see that? I don't know you could do that. You can have little areas where they can... Got a lot. Okay, anyways, what? Yes, let's go. What'd she say? Alright. I should have been paying attention. I'm dinking around here. So glass, yeah, let's put glass there, and that's too big through there, so let's do it right through here. And I think we just clicked the glass.
There we go.
Boom!
Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat.
Yeah.
It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation
Shouldn't we put it right in
boxes
front of
are
the
one
viewing
main
point?
sources of income
Enjoying what
for
you're
the zoo,
seeing?
so make sure
Pay
you
me!
remember them.
Don't we need animals in here too?
All right.
Oh, okay,
you've
yeah.
finished the habitat.
She said the most
Right,
important
right,
thing,
Dr.
and then the
Bill's
donation
ostriches
box is like, I think the most important thing is an
Let's put
animal.
4 of them in here.
Now, why? Now, so this one more than the ward? Why is this one more? Is it because it's like really big, or? Oh, it's really good fertility compared to the others. Oh yeah, okay. So it's like the mama ostrich. So there's one. Oh, I like how it brings you back to the screen. I know that's such a small quality of life thing, but in Planet Coaster there was a lot of small little things like this that it wouldn't do. So you'd have to, like, you'd place a staff member and then the screen would close and you would have to, if you wanted to hire a different kind of staff member, you'd have to go back to the management screen, open it up and redo it. And it was just a lot of little small things. I'm noticing right off the bat, just little small quality of life improvements that really make a difference in a management game when you're switching back and forth between different screens and stuff.
Add a suitable feeding station,
Okay.
water station,
Uh-huh.
and an appropriate food enrichment item.
We have a slow feeder for our dog because he's fat and eats a lot.
And feeding stations
And he gets
near to the
sick.
habitat
We have to give him a
perimeter, so
slow
guests
feeder.
can get a really good view of the animals.
I like the sprinkler. That's... Water trough, food bowl. We'll put a water trough over here. Holding Z to do this. You can also hit spacebar and it'll snap from earlier. Remember the snapping? You can do that. So I'm going to put this right here. Looks like it kind of conforms to the land. I like that. I like how the grass gets out of the way too. The tall grass here. God, the tall grass is just such a godsend. And a food bowl. I'll put the food bowl back there. Oh, we have an ostrich. Hey! There we go.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour?
I didn't know. That's
Heaven forbid
fast.
they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Oh, Bernie. Bernie.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke?
Yeah, Nancy, he
Every
did.
time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
I completely agree, Nancy, and I think we're going to do everything and all of that in episode 2 there. So yeah, we did a good job there on bronze, got a general feel for Planet Zoo there a little bit. But yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up the episode there. We're going to go ahead and for the next episode, move on to our silver, which is looks like all about our employees and keeping them happy and probably messing with staff pathing and all that fun stuff, because the management for Planet Zoo has been ramped up a lot compared to Planet Coaster there. So, but yeah, let's take a look at that in the next episode there. If this is your first time hanging out with us, again, don't forget to hit the subscribe subscribe button there. Also, don't forget to hit the, I can spit that out, the like button as well there, as it does help out the channel, help out the video. So, hey, thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out. And yeah, until the next episode of Planet Zoo there, y'all stay wild. Yes, I'm going to do, like, cheesy stuff like that. Stay wild. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.